minute. Hello, mighty companion. This is Earl Purdy. I want to welcome you to a course in miracles. Just take a minute to think about what I just said. There's a book that has the audacity to say it's a course in miracles. See, that in itself is kind of tricky to me. And guess what? He claims that if we were to change our minds and forgive and really let go of the grievances and let go of the past, he says, guess what? That would be a miracle. So I want to welcome you to Facebook Live, welcome you to A Course in Miracles. And we're going to talk about the little bit of willingness, the little bit of willingness, the little bit of willingness. The Course in Miracles says that you need to do it slowly, that you need to do it slowly, that you need to do it slowly, and listen with the attitude of you don't have to believe it, you don't have to accept it, you don't have to welcome it, that you might find it hard to believe, that it might startle you. And it also says that if you will use it, you'll see that it works. It's not unusual from time to time that I get emails from people who will tell me, one of the most common things that you hear as a teacher, how they're trying all these different things and it doesn't seem like it works. It's interesting how many times people would be convinced that they've studied all these different teachings, yet they still, nothing's been able to reach them. And I immediately know what's really happening according to the Course. I know that all it means is they read the recipe book, but they haven't done what the recipe book says. I know that means they just did part one. The first thing, if you're going to use a recipe book, is you have to read the recipe. And at that point, you haven't put anything together, put anything in the oven. With the Course in Miracles, most people, especially new people, they're just at the stage of reading the recipe book. And so the Course is saying, would y'all please let me tell you what I'm saying before you try to break it down and analyze it and give your meaning? Would you just let yourself hear what the Course in Miracles is saying before you use your vast wisdom to try to judge what it's saying? Could you, for an hour, go, I don't have to believe it, I don't have to accept it, I don't have to welcome it, I don't have to find it, analyze it. I just want to hear what the premise is. I just want to hear what it's telling me I should do. And then the other thing that I try to do in every class of A Course in Miracles is to take the principles that it's teaching and show how they can be used in any area of your life, not just spiritually. But these are universal laws and universal principles that you can apply to everything from a parking space to your soul's evolution. So to me, I want to make it practical. I want to make it something that I can take into my everyday life. So it was saying, I'll let you know where we're at. We're in the Foundation for Inner Peace version, the blue book. We're on page 381. Page 381 in the text, section 4. What is the title of that section? Well, that's what that sounded like. I think we're there. That didn't sound like a little bit. I'm so proud of you all. Y'all doing it exactly like it says. You came here with a little bit of willingness. And you're not going to agree with everything that I stated the Course says, so let's just get that straight. I know that you're going to have another way to look at anything I say. You're going to come up with another way to look at it. That there's a good possibility you're going to do the infamous yes, but. Okay, I understand that. You all have nice, round yes, buts. And I just want to acknowledge you for that. So I get it. Some things I say, but didn't I say that some of the stuff you might resist? And the other thing is the course says, do me slow. Do me slow. Quick review. It says last week, don't trust your good intentions. Why is it that you shouldn't trust your good intentions? It says, don't trust your good intentions because they're not enough. That's why. Your good intentions are not enough. Have you ever had good intentions and totally royally screwed something up? And you had the best of intentions. So the course has the audacity to say, you don't need to trust your good intentions. Don't trust, then you go, quite naturally, you go, okay, if I don't trust my good intentions, what is it that I should trust? And the course says, well, trust your willingness. Trust your willingness to have what you want above all else. Trust your willingness to have peace. Trust your willingness to go in the direction of your happiness more than you trust your good intentions. So how do you trust your good intentions? Not trust your good intentions, and how do you trust your willingness? Concentrate on it. If I want to trust my willingness and not pay attention to my good intentions, I need to count on this. I need to do this. And this is another very important thing. Don't be disturbed because you have doubts. Don't be disturbed because you have doubts. Don't be disturbed because there are parts of you that may doubt that it can pull this off. Don't get disturbed because there are parts of you that may still have fear, that may still have upset, that may still not be able to do it in a perfect way. It says, do not be disturbed that shadows, doubts surround your willingness. Okay? All right? That's why you came to the book and the class and the studies, because if you could come without any of your doubts and fears, you would need a healing instant. You would need to be healed if you were already healed. You would need to be trying to be more loving if you're already expressing love all the time. So stop getting upset with yourself because you can't fly solo at the first class of flight school. Just because you can't be loving as you like to be all the time, don't be disturbed by that, because if you knew how to be loving and peaceful all the time, it wouldn't be in the need for you to learn this. Now, let me know when I lose you, because it's making so much sense that it'll be hard to understand. I'm serious. This book makes so much sense to people. What? Yeah. If you already knew how to ride a bicycle, you wouldn't be going to bicycle ride in school, so why in the heck are you getting upset with yourself because you don't ride a bicycle well? I'm really not that good at forgiveness. So I need to come to a class that teaches me how to forgive. And to forgive means to let go of the blocks that keep me from being happy. Forgiving doesn't mean I'm trying to overlook what I think you did to me, you dirty dog. Okay, that is not forgiveness. I'm not asking you to, it's not asking you to overlook something that somebody really did to you. Ooh. It's really asking you to recognize that if you're still upset about it right now, then it's you that's the one that's making you feel upset and not what happened when you were a child. That's why there's nothing to forgive, because that's gone. But the course is saying, but the fact that you're using right now to think about it and then to make yourself feel bad about it, then you're the one that's keeping the pain going, not the event. Because the event's gone. Time was so beautiful that it took away everything that hurt you in the past. That's what's the beauty of time. So the only place that unhappy, whatever it is still going on, he said, is in your mind, and you're using right now to remember what's gone. Yeah, I think my daddy could have been a better daddy, but that's just because I was only thinking about myself. And I had a lot of scripts of what a good daddy should do. And that's why I'm upset with my daddy, not because of what my daddy did not do, was what I felt my daddy didn't do that I felt like my daddy should do to be a good daddy. Have a nice day. Of course, he says, if you could come without your doubts, you wouldn't need this healing instant. So don't come to the healing instant in arrogance. And you're coming to this healing instant in arrogance if you think you need to be a loving person before you learn how to be a loving person. In other words, he's saying, assuming you must achieve the state that the healing instant brings. I gotta make myself good enough to go to God. I've got to get rid of all my anger before I go to a teaching that teaches me how to get rid of my anger. I have to already have gotten rid of all my grievances before I ask Spirit to ask me. I've ordered up a house cleaning service, but I'm going to clean up my house before they get here. That's what we do. That's what we do. I'm going to become a more loving person, but I got to make myself become a more loving person before I go to that which will help me become a more loving person. The Course in Miracles says the second coming of Christ. You know what the second coming of Christ is?
Pretty good.
The return of your common sense. He said the second coming of Christ is just the return of your common. You just start using common sense again. That's Christ returning. I thought that was hilarious. You know, so you jokers indulge y'all's minds, right? Then he says in the next sentence, but healing is going to bring you. The miracle of the healing instant, the miracle of the loving instant lies in your willingness to let love be what it is. You and I are going to heal when I let you be who you are and not try to make you over into what I think you need to be for my pleasure and my fantasies. If I let you be that loving child of God that you were created, if I let you be this immortal spiritual being, if I let you be, the Course says that then you're going to have the miracle of healing, which is the holy instant that you're looking for. So a person that's completely awake would be a person who's not doing anything about anything. It would be a person who's letting everything and everybody be exactly as they are. Because they know everything is proceeding in divine order exactly the way it should, that's best for everybody, whether they know it or not. So the mere fact that we're trying to change everything is a reflection of a lack of faith. Because if I really believed that everything was happening for the good of everybody, no matter what it looked like, I wouldn't be trying to do anything to change it. If I knew it was best for you to have that broken leg that needed to be healed and somehow or another that was part of your spiritual path that was going to help wake you up, that you decided to go through with God, then I would just be remembering who you are as a spiritual being as peaceful and loving and supportive as I could be around you, and be as happy and peaceful as I can be around you, and that would be my function in your healing. So the more you wake up spiritually, your life shouldn't be presenting you with more and more and more and more and more drama and more struggle and more things to do. Your life, according to the Course, in my interpretation of it, because it's what's on the page, is that you would be doing less and less. They actually told us a couple of weeks ago the problem is you're doing too much. And then you go in, and then you can tell the difference between your plan and the Creator's plan. And people go, well, how can I tell the difference between the right plan and the wrong plan? Well, the one that you feel like has failed is yours. You've never done the will of the universe and failed. You've never done the will of God and failed. Every time you think you failed, it was failing at a plan, he says, that the person is made up. Okay, right there with me?
Yeah.
All right, nobody bailed out the boat yet? All right, y'all some cute sellers. Okay. So how can you tell when you're really willing? He says, well, the way you can tell when you have willingness is you'll accept yourself as you were meant to be. So how can I know I have true willingness? I'm accepting me as a spirit. I'm accepting myself as a loving being. I'm accepting myself as responsible for my experience. I'm accepting myself as a child of God. That's how I know my willingness is real, because once I really have a willingness to be healed, I'll know it because I'll be accepting myself. And that's how I know I've healed. I'm not judging myself. I'm not condemning myself. I'm not judging myself. I'm not condemning myself. I'm not judging myself. I'm not condemning myself. I'm accepting myself as a good person. I'm accepting myself as a loving spirit. Now I know I can sincerely say I have willingness to heal. So when someone tells me they're doing this, but they haven't gotten the result, I know they haven't done it. Do you think they like to hear that? Never wins me any reward points when I say, oh, I tell you exactly what the problem is. You're not doing what it says. Because they be convinced that reading the recipe book is putting the recipe together. What are you talking about? As a matter of fact, I read the recipe book, never put the ingredients together for the cake. The cake never appeared on the counter, and I have a solution to that. What is the solution? I'll get another recipe book. That's what we do. It's like being a construction worker wanting to build a house, and you got your hammers and your nails, and you're standing there waiting for the house to be built. And then you go, well, dog, got the hammers and I got the nails, but the house isn't being built. I know what to do. I'll get some more hammers and some more nails. And that's what truth students do. They go from one teaching to another teaching, to another teaching, to another teaching, to another workshop, to another workshop, to another retreat, to another retreat, to another book, to another book, to another book. And it's the same as piling up hammers and knives and nails without ever picking them up to start to build a house. And then they wonder why the truth doesn't work, because they can quote Marianne, Eckhart, Seth, Course in Miracles. They can tell you so many different books that they're studying, and then they'll bring the latest ones that you haven't even heard of yet. And before you know it, you got a room full of nails and hammers. And they'll be wondering why the house is not being built. It's so funny, you know. That's why I try to tell people after 40-something years of dealing with the Course. I've literally been in the presence of thousands of my teachers. And don't get me wrong, that's how I see you. I see you as my teachers coming to me, bringing me what needs to be corrected in myself as well. So I see you coming to bring a gift to me, because every time I say this stuff to you all, guess who's pretty much has 100% attendance at all his classes? A couple of them I was gone after a really good Saturday night, but we're going to talk about that some other time. Okay, my point is, every time I teach a class, I'm the one who remembers it more, and my life changes more. So I'm blessed with you coming to me to let the truth come through me to you, giving me an opportunity to hear this again, because that's not what most people talking. This is not what most people, this is not what you're going to go to the average social gathering and hear anybody talking about. So I teach because it guarantees I will hear some sanity at least once a week. So the Course says, take it slow, right? Any questions specifically about what I just talked about? About clarifying anything that I just said in the last paragraph? Okay. Have you ever heard that you should be humble and you should have humility? Well, what is the Course in Miracles definition of humility? Don't you ever be content to be satisfied with being little. Don't you ever be content with not being loved the way you deserve to be loved. Don't you ever be content with being mistreated in any way. Don't you ever be content with just being a little limited idea of a body that dies one day. Don't you ever be content with feeling shame and feeling guilt. Don't you ever be content with having lack and not believing that you're loved. Don't you ever be content with anything less than perfect happiness. And that's why people aren't satisfied. They aren't satisfied because they cannot be happy with giving themselves less than what they really deserve. So you're in a world full of people who are discontented because they know they deserve better than what they're giving themselves. That's all unhappy people are. They're just people who know they deserve more and better than what they're giving themselves. I'm unhappy in this relationship because there's a part of me that knows I deserve to be and want to be in a relationship that's much more peaceful and loving. I'm dissatisfied with my financial situation because I can't be content with little. I'm dissatisfied with my job because I know I can't be content with being on a job that doesn't really, I give myself any satisfaction. The more conscious you become, the more you'll be aware that everybody's dissatisfied. Who's dissatisfied? They're dissatisfied for the right reason. They're dissatisfied because they know they're not giving themselves what they know they deserve. That's all unsatisfied, dissatisfied people are. But the reason they stay dissatisfied for so long is because they're following the wrong guides. And that's why nothing changes. They don't realize that if it should be real obvious to us as we pretend that the world can be changed. It should become obvious to us that people, whatever it is that they decide that they really want to do, that's what they're gonna put their energy into, and that's what they're gonna do. And anything that they really want to do is always the thing that's easiest for them to do, because if it's really something you really want, your desire to have it will create the strength to do it. And you know that's true. If I really want to go to that movie, and I really, really want to go to that movie, and I really, really want to go to that movie, and there's a way for me to go to that movie, and I really, really want, then I'm going to have the strength to get up and get out of the bed and get dressed and take a shower and put clothes on, get in the car and go to the movie. Because the desire and the willingness to do it, the Course in Miracles says, creates the strength to do it. Making an undivided decision to do it gives you the strength to do it. So anything that you feel like you've been wanting to do, but you still procrastinate and you haven't done it, is just simply something you haven't made the undivided decision to do. So work on making the decision to do it first. Instead of being worried about, why don't I do it? You got to give yourself an undivided decision to do it. I want to be in a world full of love and peace and people connected and feeling safe with each other and growing together and waking up together, and who I don't have to sleep with one eye open. I want to be in a world where I'm perfectly free, and I want to free the people around me, and I want to take responsibility for my experience, and I want to join with other people who want to take responsibility for their experience. I want to be in a world where people love each other equally, where love is inclusive and not exclusive. And the only reason why a person would have the strength to try to do that is they have to really have made the decision that they want to do it. So anything that you feel like you don't have the strength to do, you merely have not made an undivided choice to do it. So stop acting like you don't know why you don't get off your butt, Earl, when you say you're going to do something. You have not made, you don't want it above all else. It's not something you want above all else. Tell me what you do all the time and what you focus on all the time, and you just told me everything I need to know about your values. That's why when you're in a conversation with people and you go out with somebody for the first time, stop trying to be interesting. Stop trying to be interesting when you meet somebody new. Be interested. Interested. So why? Because the more questions I ask you about yourself, the more I'm letting go of my judgments, hopefully, of you, and you're going to reveal your value system. I know my value system, so it might help me somewhat in recognizing right off the bat whether we would be compatible with each other as far as our purpose is concerned. I still need to hear what you got to say. You understand? But when you tell me what you want, you're telling me what you value. Let me know. I'm not kidding when I said let me know if I lose you. The Course in Miracles teaches that we don't have private thoughts. And you realize that's exactly true. All you have to do is watch and listen. And we have one mind, by the way. The easiest way to get a person to change, quote unquote, is to talk to them real self to real self, spirit self to spirit self, not ego personality to ego personality. If I really want to evoke a real change between me and you, you don't need to talk to Earl Purdy's ego, and I don't need to talk to your ego. And what is that? He said, well, that's your concept of yourself, talking to my concept of myself. And we know it's not real because the concepts of ourselves constantly change. Who you think you are a week ago may not be who you think you are next week, so neither one of them was real. So when I ask people who you are, they just tell me their latest concept of themselves, their latest belief system. And they say that they think they're telling me about themselves. Interesting, isn't it? All right. So if you're going to be humble, don't ever be satisfied with having less than what you think you really deserve. Yet, what does humility require? It requires that you not be content with less than greatness. So don't be content with anything less than seeing yourself and knowing you're great. You don't allow yourself to be seen as less than great. But where must the greatness come from? The Course has said, don't be satisfied with seeing yourself as less than great, but where is the greatness going to come from? You see where the greatness is going to come from, that it doesn't come from you. Your greatness doesn't come from you. Your greatness does not come from you. Your greatness does not come from you. Your love does not come from you. Your greatness does not come from you. Your greatness does not come from you. Your greatness comes from that which created you. When you bake a cake that you're proud of, the greatness of that cake came from you. The greatness of the cake didn't come from the cake. The greatness of the cake came from you. The greatness comes from you. The one who made it is the one who declares the greatness. The thing itself, the TV can't say how great it is, but you could say the TV is great if you made it. So you won't be content unless the greatness comes from something greater than your own ego, is what this just said to me. In other words, all that feeling good about yourself that you want to feel, ultimately, your greatness that you're going to appreciate and therefore feel good, that greatness is not going to come from you, and that greatness is not going to come from anything you do. Your value doesn't 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 come from anything you do. Nothing that you do determines your value. Nothing that you do determines your value. Nothing that anybody else does determines there's nothing about your value that you're going to get because of something you do.
Thank goodness. I said, thank goodness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love the idea that I could be great whether I think I am or not. That I could be loved whether I think I am or not. I thank God every day. Your being loved doesn't depend on me. You ought to be glad too. You ought to be glad that your happiness doesn't depend on me. That means you can be happy anytime. But if your happiness depends on me, then when you're not around me, you're not happy. You ever been in one of those relationships where if you weren't around each other, you just were not happy? Because your happiness came from them, and it came from being with them. And in that situation, then when you weren't together, all you were doing and thinking about when the next time you could be together. Because your happiness comes from them. And the truth is that happiness that you're feeling when you're around them, you are generating that happiness. You're the one that's generating that happiness because of your interpretation of them. I'm telling myself you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Then I feel like you're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Then I say, you making me feel this way. But I made me feel this way. Then I projected that you were feeling that way about me. And so I stalk you.
You don't already, baby?
In my mind. That's the safe way. I find you can get away with a lot more stuff in your mind than you can with your body. The body kind of requires permission. I can think anything I want about anybody in here, and nobody in here can stop me. It was that diabolical. Y'all get diabolical laugh. I'll think loving things about you, all whether you like it or not. I want the best for you, even if you think you're a miserable sinner. I'll show you who got the power. 1:30. 1:30 p.m. That's all. Oh, God. That in the wind is ad. Okay. Notice I'm taking it slow, right? So where does your difficulty with happiness lie? Where does your difficulty with prosperity lie? Where does your difficulty with the holy instant, which is healing, lie? Now check this out. It says your difficulty with the happy instant arises from your fixed conviction that you're not worthy of it. So the difficulty with happiness comes from the person having the conviction that they're not worthy of it. So the things that you find are difficult are the things you don't believe you're worthy of.
Come again?
Okay? The thing that you see is difficult in your life is the thing that you're trying to achieve that at some level you don't believe you're worthy to have it. A difficulty with a relationship comes from the conviction you're not worthy of a happy relationship that's beautiful. The difficulty isn't coming from the other person in the relationship. The difficulty is coming from you not believing that you're worthy to have a good relationship. So it's a self-esteem issue. But you're going to blame it on the other person and say if they acted differently, then the whole thing would change. But the truth is it's difficult because you don't believe you deserve to have a partner who would say in the morning, or a friend would say in the morning, oh my God, I feel so grateful that you're my partner or my friend and that's in my life. I think about how many times I said thank you to the people that are my personal relationships. It just, I can't help it because I feel grateful. We kind of go together. Feel grateful, self-happy. Feel grateful, self-happy. It's hard to say you're grateful for something you don't appreciate. So people that you have a hard time saying thank you to people you don't appreciate. That's not an irrational response. If I don't appreciate you, why should I tell you you're great? So they don't. They tell you what you need to do to get their happiness and get their fantasy going. I used to make up fantasies about what I wanted to experience with somebody and then look for the person that I could act out my fantasy with. And I called them the perfect person for me to date or to see, which would be the person that was acting out my fantasy. And my number one fantasy was to feel special. So whoever gave me the most specialness got my attention, provided you were doing it the way I wanted you to.
Yeah.
But which I wasn't going to choose the person who was going to do that because if I felt unworthy, certainly I wasn't going to let myself have someone that was going to appreciate me. Mm-hmm. So then I had difficult relationships because I didn't think I was worthy of having one that wasn't difficult. And also, I wasn't accepting myself as I really am. I wasn't willing to let myself be, and I kept trying to perfect myself before I went to my higher teacher and asked for the way I could be healed and perfected. Mm-hmm. You can't save yourself. At least not your ego self saves you. Now, your greater self is what's in charge of this. It's your greater self that you can go to, what people call their greater self God. That's not your ego. Okay. This is so much fun. My mind just be like, oh. My mind loves these thoughts of love. And my mind and my heart are going, oh, thank you, Arch. Thank you for letting some sanity go through your mind. Oh, that's wonderful. And so why is something difficult in your life? Who heard me? It's because you think you're not worthy of it. So, and now check the next sentence out. It's what I call a Course in Miracles sentence. And what is this? You having a hard time because you feel like you're not worthy of it. He says, what is this but the determination to be as you would make yourself? So the reason why, you mean to tell me the reason why I'm having a hard time having what I want is because I think I'm not worthy of it. And that's me trying to be determined to see myself the way I see myself rather than being willing to see myself the way love and God sees me. That is why it's difficult. Yes, I'm telling you, you're valuable, you're beautiful, and you deserve to be happy. You are telling yourself, no, I don't. Well, that is you having determination to be the way you are trying to make yourself be. I say you're a beautiful, powerful, loving, incredible, stupendous being, and you tell me, no, that's not the way I am. Well, that's the determination to be the way you want to make yourself be. He says, and that creates the difficulty, and then you don't have the thing you want. This book is telling us exactly what's preventing us from having the peace and happiness that we want. It takes a different approach. The Course in Miracles approach is, let me get you in touch with the blocks that you have that you don't know you have that's keeping you from having what you want. It's shadow work. Shadow work is work that's getting you in touch with ideas and beliefs you do not have consciousness of. It's not a book that's going to be saying stuff that you agree with all the time. It's a book that's telling you about thoughts that you have that you don't know you have that creates the upset that you go through. It's a book that's actually going to sound like it's saying a lot of stuff you don't agree with because it's making you aware of what you are not conscious that you're believing. Then the person goes, well, how do I know it's there? He says, well, I'll tell you how. Because your feelings, number one, do you ever feel anger, guilt, grievances, and despair? Another way you know you have more dark thoughts than you think you have is the easiest way to know, to get out of denial, is to recognize you see it in your world. Because whatever you see in your world is in your mind. So it's no such thing as saying, I don't have any fearful negative thoughts, and then I see other people with them. There are no other people with them. That's your mind. There isn't but one. My specialists would like to believe that I don't have murderous thoughts. But the fact that I see murderers in my perception means I have murderous thoughts. I do have thoughts, but I also have thoughts of love, thoughts of joy, thoughts of peace, thoughts of abundance, thoughts of freedom. Why? Because I see that too. So you know you got positive, loving thoughts because you see them in some other people. You're just hiding it from yourself because what he tells you? Because you don't think you're worthy of it. Because you don't think you're worthy of it. As soon as you don't think you're worthy of something, then it becomes difficult to achieve. Because you don't think you're worthy. Stop getting on that other person's case. It's not that what that other person is doing or not doing. It's working on letting go of the blocks to recognizing you are worthy of love. You are worthy of safety. You're worthy of fun. And a person that's really awake, if you insist on continuing to do things that you see don't work over and over again, then you see that person doing that, then you have to get at some point to the point that you honor their right to keep on going through that same painful situation that they're putting themselves through over and over again. And you stop interfering with that, them giving themselves that painful situation that they want to give themselves over and over again. Because they can do it a better way. They've been aware they can do it a better way. You've been willing to support them in doing it a better way. And they're still choosing to do it that way. There is some lesson that their soul is determined to get out of that pattern that they haven't gotten yet. And that's why no matter how much you talk to them, no matter how much you try to help them, they don't change because they want to give themselves whatever that lesson is. And if that lesson is causing them pain, you can relax because pain has a limit. There's no way you can be in eternal hell or eternal pain because only love is eternal. And everything else is temporary. So you cannot stay in pain all the time, even if you want to. It's not the will of God. See that ding? Y'all hear that ding? That ding came. That was spirit. That was spirit saying, right on, black dude. That's my spiritual name, black dude. I remember the day we all went into the shop to choose bodies. I must have been showing out. I want to be real special. I want to be a black man in America. That's special.
Yes.
That's real special. Oh, isn't this fun? Any questions, any comments, any ahas around what we're talking about? Anybody? Don't.
Yeah. Well, this is very indicative of my life, and I see how I structure
Speak
my
loud for me so they can hear you.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I see how I structure my life and set it up in a way where I can blame other people, and ultimately every relationship that I have, however dysfunctional it may be, it came from my mind. It came from some self-hatred or lack of self-love that I have. And this is just reminding me to stop blaming the people I chose to be participants, because if I didn't choose one particular person with these errors in my mind, I would have chosen another. So I have to take responsibility for myself.
See, you would be a prize for any partner. See, you would be a prize. Anybody that would say what you just said as far as taking responsibility, not blaming anybody, if you got any kind of vision or any kind of sense, this would be the person you go, hey, give me your phone number. Let's get together. You see, because I recognize what the same person would say, and the same person would say what you just said. So if I can get past the body to focus on the content, which is the mind, that's the key to having more safe relationships. Because what I've noticed on this plane is every mind or spirit seems to come with a body. So I don't have to seek the body in and of itself, because everybody pretty much got one. Now, we all have our preferences in terms of the size and shapes of the bodies. Let's face it. We honest with each other, or you would be just as turned on by, Tom Cruise as the Hunchback of Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wouldn't make any difference what the person's body looked like if you were really focusing on love and truth and what's real, because there's something that happens when you really love someone, and it's real love. Not that special stuff that's based on, traits that come and go. But if it's real love that you and another person are expressing with each other, according to what I've learned, they are beautiful to you. I'll say that again. When you're looking at somebody with love, I don't care how old they are, I don't care how big, how slim, how whatever, if you're looking with love, you don't see anything but beauty. So how can I tell when I'm looking at people through my ego? I let the way they look affect how I feel about them. Boom! Mic drop. I would drop it out. I want to pay for another. Okay. Y'all gonna cover the price. I'll do a mic drop. Okay. Anybody else?
First you said the things I find difficult are the things I don't feel worthy of having. And then you went into something about things I feel grateful for. Could you elaborate a little more? Is there kind of like the gratefulness that you feel is more for the things that are easy, or?
No, it's just the opposite. The more grateful I am, the easier things
The
get.
easier things are.
Yeah.
That's what you said. Okay.
The Course in Miracles says we are basically gods who've forgotten it, that's inhabiting bodies right now. And so the game of the game is to be reminded of who we really are. And the once that we create the conditions that we remember who we really are, we do. And that condition is being in a place of total safety. The people that you feel the safest with are generally the people who see more of who you are than anybody else. And the people you don't feel safe with is where you show them the mask, and they don't really get to know who you really are. So it's more important to me for a person to feel safe with me than any other thing. And all I have to do to support a person feeling safe is one thing. Don't attack them. Would you agree? Let's just keep it simple. If you knew I was never going to attack you or try to hurt you, and you felt safe, why wouldn't you reveal who you are? What secrets would I have from somebody I really felt safe with? None. But who's the person that I've hidden things from the most in my life? It's been the people I had the most special relationships with.
Yeah.
The person who's most special to me usually was the last to find out anything. And everybody else knew first. And you've seen it, where you have been aware of things with friends and stuff that was going on with them, and their partner was oblivious. Why? Because they didn't feel safe enough, in some cases, to know that they could communicate everything without being attacked, or that they were without losing the person. That's another big one. If I tell you what I did last night, it's a good chance I might lose you. So if I knew I couldn't lose you because I knew our relationship was real and strong, then I would tell you anything. I wouldn't feel any need to have a secret from you because I didn't think I could lose. And so the Course says fear is fear of loss. So whenever you say I'm afraid, the next question should be, what am I afraid of losing? Because that's why the fear is there. So if I recognize that what I really am survives death, I'll drop a ton of fear around what happens with my body. Automatically. It's only when people think they are their bodies that they are afraid of dying. There's nothing more frightening to people than a person who seems like they're not afraid to die. Think about that for a minute. A person who's not afraid to die scares the heck out of people who believe they can die, because they feel like that person would do anything. So the Course is telling us that, here you go, God did not create God's dwelling place unworthy of God. So love didn't create you unworthy of love. If love is going to live in you, then it's not going to create you as being unworthy of the love that wants to be in you. So you are worthy of the love that wants to be in you and that's already in you. I'm going to say that over and over again. God would not create you unworthy of God. Love wouldn't create you unworthy of love. Freedom wouldn't create you unworthy of freedom. And if you believe that God can't enter you, if you believe that love can't enter where it wills to be, if you believe that good can't come to you, love can't come to you, health can't come to you, abundance can't come to you, this book says you must be interfering with God's will. So what does interfering with God's will mean? It means that you believe that love can't enter you, God can't enter you, good can't enter you. A person who thinks they're so bad and so sinful and so guilty, that's a person that's interfering with love's will. Love wants to get to you. Peace wants to get to you. Happiness wants to get to you. You're interfering. How are you interfering? You're believing you're not worthy of it. So what's the purpose of a special relationship or friendship or romantic relationship? To be a constant reminder that you're worthy of it. It's simple. I'm in your life, I'm your partner, I'm your friend, to not let you forget how worthy you are of love and beauty and support and kindness. Now, a person who doesn't believe they deserve love and support and kindness, they can barely keep their freaking eyes open right now. So that tells me all I need to know about you. You see what I'm saying? If I don't get excited about the idea of me deserving to be happy, that's letting everybody in the room know everything they need to know about me. And I don't mean you have to be jumping up and down and shouting, but there's an energy that comes through you, even if you're quiet, when you're happy about what you're hearing. So I'm not judging you by how externally excited you are. Don't get me wrong. But if you are really believing that you deserve to be happy, and you're being told that every time you don't let yourself be healed and let yourself be loved, you're interfering with God's will, which makes you aware that your Creator wants you to have perfect joy and perfect happiness, and you know the only reason why you don't is you don't think you're worthy of it, and that makes it difficult for you to have it, and you know that now you know you'll never be content being in a relationship that's not the right relationship for you, or the right job for you, or the right house. You know why? Your discontentment is because you're saying, doggone it, I know I deserve better than what I'm giving myself right now. Doggone it, I know I deserve better than what I'm giving myself right now. I know I'm better. I know I deserve better. I know I'm worthy of it. And since I know I'm worthy of it, I will not find it difficult, because I am going to believe that my Creator would not have created me unworthy of my Creator. Love would not have created me unworthy of love. Abundance wouldn't have created me unworthy of abundance. So I need to stop blocking my abundance, because that's me being arrogant, trying to make myself be something that I've made of myself and not the beautiful thing that God created me to be. Woo! 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 Goose! Goose! So I love having the opportunity to tell you all great things about yourself that you can't even block, even if you try. Because that's also increasing my belief that no matter what I think about myself, I could be loved. And you give me an opportunity to tell myself stuff like that, and to remember stuff like that. And then I got sense enough to know I wouldn't dare get in a personal relationship with somebody that was judging me, criticizing me, condemning me, and thinking that the only reason why I'm there is to make them happy and act out their fantasy. And it has nothing to do with our mutual joy. You telling me everything you need to tell me. Or if I tell you who I am and how I am, and then you try to change me, you're saying something's wrong with me. A person is always trying to change you. They're just saying something's wrong with you, something's wrong with you, something's wrong with you. Yeah, something's wrong with you based on the fantasy that they want to get you to act out. Not that something's really wrong with you. And you got to be coming up with some really cool stuff to make me want to do that much changing for you. You better be a damn good time. Constantly. You want to be my everything? You sure? That's going to be a whole lot taking on you for yourself. You better spread me around. You better let a lot of people love me. Which is not the same as saying a lot of people have sex with me. Because we hopelessly confuse sex and love, sex and love, sex and love. So the many people here, you need to be having inclusive love, a love that includes other ones. They start to shake because they think you're talking about the body. Because we know to the ego, fearful mind, sex is a symbol of love. And sex is the symbol that shows how special you are. Because that person is the only person you're giving your bad sex to. If you think about it, is it really such a gift? And it might be for you, but really. So, last sentence I'm going to say is this one here. I want to make sure we finish the paragraph. Isn't it fun going through the actual book and taking the sentences? The way it's written is so powerful. So how many of you have been interfering with God's will by believing that sometimes there's not a part of you that's worthy of being loved? Who would admit they sometimes felt like they were unworthy? Okay, see, we are the same. And it's impossible to feel guilty when you're around somebody that's the same as you. Guilt comes from feeling like you're around somebody that's different from you. That's why criminals can hang out with each other and talk about their crimes without feeling guilty, because you're a criminal too. But when people think they're different, they judge each other. See, I know I have love and a call for love happening all day long. And I know you do too. Whether you want to admit it to me or not, doesn't matter. I know that all day long you're experiencing either love or fear. Some form of love, some form of fear. I know you do, right? So here's the gift the Spirit has given us. It says, you do not need the strength of willingness to come from you. So the strength of your willingness, which we worry about, do I have the strength to be this willing? He says that strength doesn't have to come from you, but that strength is coming from God's will. that your creator wills that peace, so all the strength to do that is going to be given you. So what is your job? To stop interfering. How do I stop being interfering? Believing I'm worthy of it. Stop trusting my good intentions and start trusting my willingness. Remember that I don't have to try to prepare myself for this. This is going to prepare me for this. See, I need to remember what those first 4 paragraphs said. But my ego is going to say, get somebody to change, get somebody to change, get somebody to change, get somebody to change, this person is just going to show up magically, that's going to be your perfect everything, that's going to make you feel, that perfect job is just going to show up and it's going to give you some more joy than you've ever had before. No. You know why that is not true? You know why that is not true? You know why that is not true? It's because everything in the world is neutral. Everything in the world is neutral. Everything in the world is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's the meaning that you give it. So nothing in the world makes you happy. Nothing in the world is capable of making you happy. Nothing in the world can make you happy because everything in the world is neutral. And you're the one that's determining how happy it makes you by how worthy you feel about what it is you think you want and what you deserve, and you realize you can trust your good intentions, and you realize that joy and that greatness is going to come from the part of you that's greater than the you that feels fear. And that there's nothing you can do to stop your good. There's nothing you can do to stop your good. The most you can do is delay it, but you'll never be able to prevent it. God's will for you is perfect happiness. Did you acknowledge yourself for hearing this much with me today? Don't forget, we'll have a 15-minute period afterwards to discuss or ask questions or to get clarity about what we're doing. Now I'm going to do one little thing at the end, and let me pass this around in case you want to make a financial expression of appreciation. I really appreciate that. As a full-time teacher of the course says you'll be given what you need to stay. So I've trusted that for 40 years. And also those online, if you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation, you can go to my website, www.earlpurdy.com, and you can also you can use Venmo, the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, or Square, and you need my email address, and my email address is earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com, earlpurdy@earlpurdy.com. I'm available for one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions, one-on-one sessions called Clarity Sessions. Have a one-on-one session with me, and I can show you how to use what we're learning in this particular situation that you're dealing with. Also, I'm available for astrological and numerological interpretations. So you came here with a plan. There are many ways Spirit is trying to communicate that to you. It can be through the course, it can be through astrology, it can be through numerology, it can be through other things. The truth teaches that Spirit will use whatever you learn to teach you what you need to know. So whatever you've learned, whatever your gift is, whatever your skill is, it can be used by Spirit to wake you up and to heal everybody else. That's very important. Sometimes when people get on a spiritual path and they start studying this stuff, they think that they need to quit their job, leave their partner, or whatever. They start making all of these decisions about what they should do rather than asking what it is that they should do. But no, you can choose to change what you do. But don't lie to yourself and say that there wasn't a way that Spirit could have given you to look at exactly where you were that could have been used for your awakening also. Everybody clear on that? It's okay to change if you think you really feel inspired to change. But nothing about your happiness is dependent on anything on the outside ultimately. And since nothing about your happiness is dependent on the outside ultimately, then it really doesn't matter whether you stay or whether you go. But if you feel inspired to go, that's probably what you should do. But don't think that Spirit wasn't going to be able to reach you if you stayed where you were. It just might have been a little bit more challenging. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing we can do to prevent ourselves from being helped. I'm sorry, y'all. Please forgive me for telling you that. That no matter what you think of yourself, no matter how insecure you feel, no matter how unworthy you feel, just don't make the mistake of looking for another person to validate you And then making sure you choose the one person that will not validate you. Because that's what people do. They make their happiness dependent on somebody, then they choose the worst person in the world as the one that they are looking to validate them. Okay? But guess what? That's them trying to make themselves different from the way God created them. Because if they really were seeing themselves correctly, they wouldn't put up with it. I just wouldn't put up with it. But I wouldn't have to attack you. I would have to go off on you. I just choose out of that form of relationship with you. That's all I do. So I tell people, if I feel like one form that used to work isn't working anymore, the first thing I try to do is present them with an opportunity for us to choose a form that would work. If the only thing we can do is go to the movies together, and we seem to be able to do that in total peace, and anything else we clash, well, let's go to the movies together. And then don't try to go skiing, because you're going to be upset if you go skiing with me. Like I told you, ever see Earl Purdy coming down the mountain on skis, you need to just get rid of him, because that's a clone, that's an alien, that's something else, that's somewhere else. That is not Earl Purdy, okay? So I'm just giving y'all the warning, now y'all can tell, you know. Or I'll give you one, or I'll tell you, you know what, I've changed. And I think I like to ski now, because I found myself following some sports statistics, and it freaked me out. Because I haven't had any interest in sports my whole life. Was it a trip? Growing up in the hood, a black dude who went into sports wasn't an easy childhood. I was so bad, they choose somebody in a wheelchair before they choose me. They go, Purdy or the paraplegic? The paraplegic! I was horrible. I was so bad. It was hell. Oh, I got to get over that. That happened in the past. I got to get over it. So anyway, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com, and you can self-book an appointment with me right online. Classes, 1 p.m. Sunday, 1555 Race Street in Denver. You can come in person. I'm so thankful for those of you who came out. I'm also thankful for the thousands of people that are watching every month online. Thank you for the incredible comments and sharings that you've given. I love to hear from you. I love to hear from the people who especially resonate with me. It's very gratifying to make contact with you personally. Those who want to criticize or condemn, please don't write me. I do not want to hear what you got to say. You innocent now. But I'm not, I feel like I'm worthy, you know, to be acknowledged, not to be judged and criticized.
Yeah, put that on the website.
Yeah, that's right. So, okay, so take a breath, you all, and I'm going to give me a minute and we'll wrap this up. So what do you want to be? Who do you want to be? You want to be around those people who let you be just as you are, who let you be, who let you be. Who's telling you, if you were different, I'd be happy. If you were different, I would be happy. If you were different, I would be happy. If you spoke differently, if you act differently, then I would be happy. Who are those people in your life that support you and letting you be? Who lets you be? Who lets you be? Accept yourself as you were meant to be. Accept yourself as you were meant to be. Accept yourself as you were meant to be. Accept yourself as you were meant to be, and you were meant to be happy, and you were meant to be joyful, and you were meant to be abundant, and you were meant to be joyful, and you were meant to be peaceful, and you were meant to be healthy, and you were meant to be healed, and you were meant to be free, and you were meant to be immortal. You are love. Be glad that you can be content with what's less than what you deserve. Be glad that you're discontented in some area. Be glad that you're discontented in some area if you're discontented in some area. Be glad that you're discontented in some area if you feel discontented in some area. It means that you know that you deserve more than the littleness that you're being presented with. You know you deserve more appreciation than you may be experiencing. You know that you deserve more love than you're having in that situation and in that relationship, and that's why you feel discontented. The greatness that you're looking for is going to come from the part of you that's greater than you. You're trying to do too much. You're trying to do too much. You're trying to do too much. Your part is to accept what you've heard so far for yourself. Your part is to accept that you are as God created you. You are as love created you. You are as love created you. You are powerful. You are innocent. You are innocent. You are innocent. You are innocent. You are sinless. You are guiltless. You are innocent. You are free. 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 You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. You are free. You are free. You are free. You are free. So where does your difficulty come from? Where does your difficulty come from? It comes from your fixed conviction that you are not worthy of it. So whatever seems difficult is what you think you're not worthy of. Whatever seems difficult is what you think you're not worthy of. Whatever situation, whatever circumstance seems most difficult, you could say, this is an area that I don't feel worthy of what I want. This is an area where I don't feel worthy of what I want. That's why that health situation keeps pursuing me. That's why that financial, spiritual, relationship issues keep pursuing me. It's not because of the flaws of the other person. It's not because of the flaws of the other person. It's because in this area, I have not accepted that I'm worthy of it. I am worthy of this. I am worthy of this. I am worthy of this. It is impossible that your Creator created you unworthy of your Creator. I'll say it this way. God did not create you unworthy to have that divine inside of you. So you don't need the strength. You don't need the strength of your willingness to come from you. You don't have to worry about, do I have the strength? Do I have the strength of my willingness? The truth is, you don't have to worry about having the strength of willingness come from you, but only from your Creator's will. Just want it above all else. And don't trust your good intentions. Trust your willingness. And watch and listen to this at least 4 times. It's repetition. I'm the divine repetition teacher. It's about repetition, repetition. And you can watch my classes on YouTube, and you can watch my classes on Facebook. If you Google my name, it's going to come up in all kinds of places, but don't pay attention to some of them. So let's acknowledge this one more time. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you for helping me remember together. And if you have to go, I understand. But I'm going to put it on timer. We'll have 15 minutes to join and connect and to answer questions. I love you so much. Let me know you love me.